You may have heard or felt that the world is changing rapidly and that the new earth is emerging. This is holding true, especially after COVID. There are different dimensions to this world. And what if I told you that you can choose which dimension to live in? Hi everyone, I'm Tiana, and today in this video I will be talking about the steps, how you can move into 5D, which is the fifth dimension. There are different dimensions. I'll be talking about each one of them and giving you the steps and the tools how you can step into 5D or the fifth dimension as quick as possible and as painlessly as possible. By nature, we are 5D humans. And 5D humans live from their heart wisdom. You feel fully empowered and you emit unconditional love for all creatures, for themselves and for others. You know you're interconnected with everyone around you, all life on earth, and you live in vibrancy and joy with unlimited access to creativity. The psychological and spiritual process of raising our frequency and becoming a 5D human is very complex and challenging. It can be daunting at times. The journey includes healing our wounds, our emotional inner child, identifying and integrating our personal and collective shadow to keep our energy field clear. This is necessary so that higher dimensional portals can remain open and stay open so that we are not stuck in 4D duality. Healing our traumas, and those could be this life's traumas, our past life traumas, or ancestral traumas. It can be a quite daunting task. This transition is also asking us to let go of who we were, who we maybe still are, to everything that is familiar to us, and to enter into the unknown. The natural 3D response to this is fear, because it is driven by ego. When you make choices from this fear, you resist the unknown, because the ego wants to keep us safe. And it's not going to allow the new world to emerge, because it's keeping us into what's comfortable and what's safe. So we see this happening all around us right now, with all of the wars emerging, because light is shining through and is shining onto our collective shadow. It's bringing it to surface, and this is where all of the repressed anger, dysfunction, and hatred is bubbling up. It's coming up, and it's bursting in the outer world. So it's really time to own up to our inner darkness and to heal our emotional wounds and to awaken our multidimensional consciousness, to step into our potential in order to create a spiritually awakened planet. I was stuck in 4D for a very long time, for 10 years, I believe. It was really hard for me. I knew I was spiritual awakened sometime in 2012, 2013, and I started on my spiritual path at that time, And I was dancing between 3D and 4D for 10 years almost. It was very hard for me to let go of the 3D life, to let go of the materialistic world, to let go of all the achievements that I have achieved for myself. And finally, it all blew up in my face a few months ago when I had to, the universe forced me to let go of it all. And this is what will happen to you. You either work on it, you let go by yourself, or the universe will make you let go of it, and it will be quite painful if it happens like that. So the journey does get easier as we begin to love ourselves, to love our shadow as well. And this is really what keeps our shadow from getting projected onto the outer world and hurting others. We have been conditioned from our birth to believe in our limitations and our powerlessness. And as we awaken, we find parts of ourselves that are resisting the new enlightened way. This is our ego keeping us safe. So what are the different dimensions? I don't like using labels, but I think it's and it's not as black and white as 3D versus 4D versus 5D, but I think it's the easiest way to explain this. So I will use those labels. So 3D, what is that? Most people today live in 3D consciousness. It's the dimensions where all of our actions are mostly driven by fear, lack, survival, sexuality, competition, jealousy. You're often in a state of worry of what you should do or should not do, or what you have and what you should have, or what you should not have. And you're operating from the physical awareness. You ignore spirituality. You may be stuck in a religious dogma, like most people. You tend to think that everything is right or wrong, or good or bad. You also could be caught up in daily drama, in gossip, abusive relationships, and painful situations that you put yourself through. You often blame others for the things that happen to you or that have been happening to you in the past. This is 3D. 4D is when you have a life challenge or crisis and receive a wake-up call. You then become aware of the 3D mentality and move into 4D. You start to understand that you're a conscious being having a human experience, a human physical body experience. And living in 4D means that you're physically still in 3D, but you're also focused on love, sharing, compassion, service, and you know that there is power in the combination of the soul and the mind and the body. For most people that are on the spiritual path, this is where they are. 5D, or the fifth dimension, is where you truly have compassion for all living beings in the world, including our environment and the planet. A lot of 3D world becomes very invincible to you. You don't even pay attention. You stop paying attention to the materialistic world. You no longer care about possessions. You don't care about whether you will have a house and 3 cars, the clothing and the brands that you have. Most of your relationships at this time shift and change because your awareness raises to that level. What used to bother you in 3D no longer bothers you, and it becomes completely unimportant. And instead you start focusing on how you live or how you can live your most authentic, best life so that you can be of service to others and so that you can uplift this planet as a whole. When you operate in 5D, it's like you're on a mission. You feel ready to serve the world and you have to do something about that. It is a state of being that involves living from the heart with unconditional love and creativity. So how do you do that? How can you step into 5D? The number one thing to do, and there are many other things that you can do, and I will be speaking about that in my future videos. But the number one thing to do to step into 5D is to let go of your ego. And this is truly easier said than done, and it takes a lot of work and a lot of looking into yourself and examining your behavior, your actions, your responses, and all of that. But there are a couple of things that you can start doing. Number one is embrace yourself with all of your fears and all of your forms, and that includes your ego. It includes your 3D ego form, to be specific. Why? Because you are the universe in a microcosm. You, all of your emotions, your thoughts, all aspects of yourself and your ego, they're a part of you, and you are a part of the divine. And ego's purpose is to protect you, to ensure that you're safe. You need your ego. You're never going to be able to completely let go of your ego as long as you're in a human form and you are living on this earth. Fear is the ego's doing of protecting you from harm. The dissolution of the ego should not come from denying your ego and trying to force it to not be there. It comes from transcending your ego to expand your consciousness so that within your vast being, ego is a tiny speckle, but it's still there. Number two, see ego as a reflection mirror. Every time the ego raises its voice, it's time for you to look into the part of yourself that is not healed yet. So every time the ego raises its voice, and whether through comparison to others, desire for more money, more possessions, more titles, whatever it is, or feelings of worthlessness, for example, this is the time for you to do some inner work, to look into yourself and see where within yourself you need to work on things. And what is it that you need to still heal? So for me, it was the wake-up call was me being in yet another toxic relationship with the same kind of personality, mostly narcissists and abusive men. And it wasn't until I started really looking into myself and looking into my past and figuring out what is it in me, where is the darkness in me that is causing me to be attracted to these people. And truly, it was going all the way back into my childhood, my relationship with my father, who was an alcoholic and a narcissist, who made me feel that I was not worthy of love. And it wasn't until I dug deep within myself to figure out what was going on and why am I still recycling same toxic relationships that I started to heal. So you start to heal And the first step is the awareness of where the problem is. And unless you do that inner work, and unless you do, it's hard work. It's really going deep within yourself to realize what is it that is the problem. And a lot of times this is subconscious. It's not, you're not consciously doing this. Even though you know you're worthy, you know who you are, you feel very empowered, you know. I felt very empowered as a woman who moved to another continent, as a woman immigrant that made it alone in this world. I felt very empowered. So I really was perplexed as to what was going on, because I did think that I was very independent and I was empowered. However, this was subconscious. So there are a lot of things that you can do to reveal what is it subconsciously that you're doing that you're not even aware of. So that's number 2. Number 3, ground yourself in the present moment. This is important because ego thrives in the past and in the future. The past is like your childhood traumas, your victim mentality, the things in the past that happened to you, other people who caused you to be the way that you are, or the situations. And then in the future is the worries about the future. What if? What if this happens? What if I never get married? What if I don't have kids? What if I don't make it in life? What if I don't get that promotion? And so by anchoring yourself in the present moment, you allow the chatter of your ego to subside. When you go home to the present moment, there are so many conditions of love and happiness that are available to you in the here and the now. I've read many books by Thich Nhat Hanh, who is the Zen Buddhist and the activist, peace activist, on the present moment and how important it is to be in that realm. It's only the present moment that is real, truly. The past and the future are images. They're not real. They don't exist anymore, or yet. There is only one moment for you to live, and that's the present moment. And if you miss the present moment, you're basically missing your life. Number 4, last but not least, cultivate the practice of silence. Be it in nature, sitting alone, going on walks, meditating, simply just sitting in silence works. It is in peace and quiet that when your voice of ego becomes quieter and your higher self becomes louder and clearer. Meditate a lot. I've meditated quite a lot for over the years, but especially in the past year, I think I meditated 4 to 6 hours a day. You don't have to do that. That's a lot, but meditation helps to dial down the noise, and so that you can be aware of what your thoughts, feelings, and actions are. And it's a powerful way to understand your ego and how it can influence you, or how it has been influencing you. Again, it's a misconception that you can operate without an ego. Ego is a part of you, and it should be there to keep you safe, but it's important to realize that what is your ego doing versus, or thinking, versus what is your higher self. And in order to hear your higher self, you have to be quiet and put yourself in a place where you can hear it. The awareness of the ego, or what the ego's words are, or what it's telling you, is the first step to be able to transcend it. And so I'll give you an example that happened to me this week. Someone told me something to do, okay? And this is a big trigger for me, because I am, like I said, I have been since childhood very rebellious. I wanted to do my own thing. I was very, I don't need anyone to tell me anything. And then I became very independent and I moved to US by myself as a woman immigrant who truly made it in the finance world. And I was the leader and I had teams working for me. And who are you to tell me what to do, right? So it's a big thing for me. And the difference now is that I know that it's called psychological reactance. It's what happens with your brain when someone tells you what to do, because your brain reacts in a way that is keeping you safe from losing your freedom or independence. Okay? And I work very hard for my independence, so for me, this is a big trigger. And what needs to happen when in those moments is I need to be aware of that, and I need to not let my ego take over and lash out at people or, start a fight with my, significant other or my friend or whoever. You just need to, at that time, be aware of it and sit with it. Let those emotions pass. Let the anger, whatever happens, whatever was brought up, just be there and sit with those emotions and be aware that that is your ego coming up. Once you better understand it, you will be able to transcend it. And this is not to say that people who are in 5D are completely void of their ego and void of emotions such as anger, guilt, shame, sadness, whatever the emotions are, the low vibrational energies. You're not void of them. They're still going to be there. But the difference is that you are now aware of what they are. You learn how to sit with those emotions and let them pass. And you're still a human. You're still living the human experience. But you learn how to transcend your ego and you learn how to live with it and let it be there. So I hope this was helpful to you. Thank you for joining my channel, and I'll see you soon.